Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 1337-1337, which has a big significance, I was told, by a certain person named Vince. And I talked about last podcast, Vince in the Bay. Possibly he may call in. It depends if he wakes up. He went to bed way after midnight, so getting up at 6:09 in the morning might be a chore for him.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
But I will read you the email he sent me that was hilarious. And we will get to Do You Know Dat?
Mike's Daily Podcast.
As well as talk to the wonderful John Deere the engineer, Floyd the Floorman, and Chely Shoehart. She is a big part of this show and of this awesome podcast scene. She is like the light in a stone in a crown on a queen. I stole that from Esme Patterson. She's a great singer.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Singer-songwriter. Esme is her name. And that is a name that I don't hear enough. Esme.
Mike's.
Hi, I'm
Daily
Mike's May.
Podcast.
On Mike's Daily Podcast.
Yeah!
To all of you, so I spend my whole weekend doing a country show on Country Crossroads Radio, where I plug this show several times while I do the show, because I do it for free. I do it for free, and I'm like, hey, I might as well get some free advertising out of it, which I'm actually paying for, which I'm actually being paid for. I don't know. It's a weird swap. But I do the country radio because I did it for so many years, and there's a bunch of knowledge in my brain. Like this knowledge that's in my brain that just walked in. Hello.
Mike Matthews at my notes then. This is Chely Shoehart. I'm the gift shop supervisor. And I love Bob.
Bob is an onomatopoeia. No, wait. Bob is a palindrome.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
You know, you're inspired by Chely Wright.
Okay.
Yeah, Chely Wright was that country singer that sang Single White Female, which I was talking to my friend Katie, and she, who listened to a lot of country in the 90s, remembered Chely Wright. Well, Chely Wright has an interesting story. It's so interesting and scary at the same time. She had to finally say to the world, look, I know I'm a country artist and country music's very conservative, but here's the deal, I'm gay. I like women. I'm not into men. So that's the deal. And what do you think, Nashville? And Nashville...
And here's today's podcast picture.
Nashville did this. Closed the door in her face. The podcast picture today... Oh, and a couple other people just walked in. But, by the way, Chely Wright came out with an album, I think last year, worked with Joe Henry, who is one of my favorite singer-songwriter guys. Oh my gosh, this guy. He's got 2 albums that I listen to. Trampoline is one of them. I listen to it over and over and over again. He's got one of these baritone-esque voices. I guess kind of... Yeah, he kind of sings with this... I don't know how to describe his voice, but he's just amazing, and I love his stuff. So she actually did an album with him. He wrote, I guess, some of the songs on it, but she does a fantastic job on it, and who cares what Nashville thinks? I love Chely Wright. And that was the inspiration for your name, Chely Shoehart. Chely.
Oh, I never knew that. It's awesome.
And then there's also an interview that I did with her on MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com in the G through J section. Interviews G through J. I've gotten to J. And this is taking me forever to alphabetize all the interviews. But I do have all my interviews at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Just click around and you'll find maybe a musician or two that, like Keith Urban I interviewed the band Saint Motel. They've gotten all popular in the past year with their song Move, and she's just my type. So yeah, check out those interviews at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. But I forgot to say hi to these people. Oh, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman! And this is John Deere the engineer. Wow, it's episode 1337. That actually means something. Yes! And we'll find out very soon when we look at the emails from your email and your comment, not so comments. By the way, there's a link to the email section at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com to email. The email, it's MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. But if you forget that, you can also call me at 336-663-2459. That's 336-MM-DAILY is that. And you can see all the past podcast pictures. Today's podcast picture was taken on Friday. I got to walk my wonderful dog, Basil the Boxer, as we walked through the San Leandro Creek area near Lake Chabot, in this beautiful part of Podcaster Valley near Redwood Road and the golf course there. And oh, it was such a wonderful... We walked up to the campground. And just a nice long hike. And it was so... We were thinking about... Or I was thinking... I don't know what my dog's thinking. I was thinking about... Basil, what are you thinking right now? Uh-huh. Oh, you're happy, Macron won. That's awesome. Despite the fact that they hacked his emails, and it looked like it was going to be Trump Part 2 all over again, with Marine Le Pen winning because, they hacked Macron's emails and dispersed them through the internet, and the alt-right got a hold of it and dispersed it. Did it affect the election? No. He got over 60% of the vote. Macron won. Now, the interesting thing, though, you might say, but Mike, he is sort of like Trump in that he is also a businessman with no political experience. So that's true. But yeah, despite the fact the alt-right and WikiLeaks, and even though WikiLeaks said they were... we don't know where these came from, these leaks, these email hacks. Who knows what the hell... We're still verifying. You got to remember that.
WikiLeaks! I love WikiLeaks!
Trump loves WikiLeaks. But that is so amazing that Macron won. Emmanuel is his name. And they shall call him Emmanuel because that's his name. And Marine Le Pen did not. And the French sing this wonderful song when they are happy. Show me the song. Rock me Amadeus. So we'll have a little more information about that, but the podcast picture was from that wonderful hike. Floyd, how do you feel about all this? What? And how about you, Chely?
Mike Matthews, I love Bob.
So you guys are back together again?
Yeah, we ironed everything out. It was awesome.
Good. John Deere, the engineer? 1337. Oh, that's right. Okay, so let's get to the segment that we call...
Oh, my God!
Email for email. And your calm and not so calm mess.
I love that. I got an email from the wonderful Vince that I have now lost somewhere. Here it is. He said, "Yo, Mike, I love your podcast. Thanks for giving me a shout out on that one episode. I'd love to make a cameo at Cafe Anyway. Can I be in episode 1337? That's coming up pretty quick. 1337 has a numerical significance in that it's hacker slang for elite, L-E-E-T, or elite, as in elite hacker. It will be your elite episode, and I can explain the term and drink my favorite cold brew coffee from Cafe Anyway. Just a thought. Your podcast is really fun to listen to. I'd love to be a guest and glean what you do. Glean, leet, lots of E's in this email. Here's my phone number if you don't already have it. Thanks, Vince. Mike, he writes, I freaking hate. So how come the threads? I was going to complain about Gmail having their threads are all messed up when you're trying to look through past emails, but now I think it's everybody's. Nobody can do it right because I'm looking at some kind of Outlook Express account here. Vince said then, oh bleep, the next episode is 1337. What time do you record it? Well, I'm recording now at 6:18. So I sent him an email saying, hey, if you happen to be up at 6:15, give me a call. we'll see if he calls. But I told him I'm not going to text you or call you at the time that I do a podcast, because I hate when people text or email me and wake me up, as someone did in episode 1327. As you recall, I was complaining about the guy I worked with texting me some stupid text at 10 o'clock at night when I'm asleep, because I have to get up at 4. At any rate, here is the link he gave me was to Wikipedia and what they say about Elite, which is actually 1337. As Elite or Elite speak, it's an alternative alphabet for many languages that is used primarily on the internet. It uses some characters to replace others in ways that play on the similarity or the glyphs via reflection or other resemblance. For example, Elite spelling of the word Elite includes 1337 or L33T. Elite may be spelled 31337 or 3L33T. This all makes sense in some way, doesn't it? The term Elite is derived from the word elite. The Elite alphabet is a specialized form of symbolic writing. Elite may also be considered a substitute cipher, although many dialects or linguistic varieties exist in different online communities. The term Elite is also used as an adjective to describe formidable prowess or accomplishment, especially in the fields of online gaming and in its original usage, computer hacking. And I feel like I'm turning all Alan Turing. I'm turning into Turing? Yes, I'm turning into Turing. I really think so, because I got to know all this coding and whatnot. But at any rate, thank you so much for opening our eyes, Vince, and you are welcome on the show anytime, even if it isn't the Elite episode. So we're going to get to the Do You Know Dat? I've already learned a lot more that I did not know about, but here is Bison Bentley with the segment.
It's Bison Bentley's Do You Know Dat?
Hey, this is Bison Bentley, and Mike Matthews has a couple of stories that'll make you want to ask yourself, do you know that?
Well, did you know, I did not know this, an unpiloted military space plane launched by an Atlas V rocket, this according to CBS News, this was launched in May of 2015. Yes, back during the Obama administration, back when I still had hair. No, I didn't have hair then either. Glided to an unannounced landing on the long shuttle runway at the Kennedy Space Center. This was yesterday, closing out a 718-day mission. It was the first Florida landing of a returning spacecraft since Atlantis flew home in that final mission for the space shuttle program in 2011. Sonic booms rumbled across central Florida around 8 a.m. A few minutes later, the Air Force tweeted that the Boeing-built X-37B space plane, a compact delta-wing craft equipped with a payload bay, a solar power boom, and a sophisticated computer control system, had returned from orbit and landed safely. They probably had to say something about it because those sonic booms were so pronounced, and people were like, what? We still have a space shuttle program? No, that ended, didn't it? Is that something Elon Musk threw up in the air? Today marks an incredible, exciting day for the 45th Space Wing as we continue to break barriers, said Brigadier General Wayne Monteith, 45th Space Wing commander. He is a commander. Yes, commander. By your command. Our team has been preparing for this event for several years, and I am extremely proud to see our hard work and dedication culminate in today's safe and successful landing. It was the fourth clandestine flight of the X-37B, the longest in the program and the first to end in Florida, where Boeing has taken over 2 former shuttle processing hangars that have been modified to handle the secret spacecraft. And it's actually called Spycraft. The first 3 missions ended with landings at Vandenberg Air Force Base. That's northwest, about 2-hour drive northwest of Los Angeles, and south of me, probably about a 5-hour drive. Total time in space by both vehicles across the 4 flights now stands at 2,085 days. Now, on to something Warren Buffett said. Warren Buffett admitted to shareholders on Saturday he made a mistake by not buying Google shares years ago, when the company was getting $10 or $11 per advertising click from the insurance company he owns, Berkshire Hathaway Consumer Insurance Company subsidiary. Geico is what he owns. The Oracle of Omaha, as he is called, also professed ignorance on other big technology stocks, whose rallies he missed because he didn't quite appreciate their value proposition at first glance. Buffett has often said he avoided tech stocks in the past because he didn't really understand how they were making money and whether they would be able to do so over the long term. This week, Warren Buffett copped to getting it wrong on another tech company, IBM. For years, Warren was a true believer in Big Blue, but he told CNBC in an interview, CNBC, which has some guy on there that talks about Mad Money, and he sounds a little bit like this. Oh, where did I do it? Here.
He's nuts! They're nuts! They know nothing!
That's Jim Cramer. He had cut his holdings in the stock by a third. Quote, I don't value IBM the same way that I did 6 years ago when I started buying, he said, adding that the company has run into something pretty tough. Wait, what? It's run into some pretty tough competitors, he said. Now on to Macron. Emmanuel Macron. The 39. Yes, 39. That guy is almost 10 years younger than me. Damn. That's the world I live in, where leaders are younger than me now. That's eye-opening, scary, and depressing all at the same time. But he is not Emmanuel Macron. He is not part of the Labrador leader nation. He's not a Labrador leader. He's in good shape, looks like. Of course, he's only 39. You got to watch your 40s, my friend, because that's when you start putting on the pounds that you can never get off. No matter how you try, you can't get to the right BMI. But he has drawn a sigh of relief, of collective relief, from all corners but the far right, who tried so hard to derail him. The alt-right with their stupid email thing. So the thing is, they got the emails, and in France, they say, no! No! They know nothing! They say there's a blackout, and you're not allowed to put any of that stuff into the media. If you are a media organization, you cannot reprint those emails. You got it? Fox News? Oh wait, Fox News, you're banned here in France. Goodbye. I don't know if they're actually banned or not, but the fact was that there was a blackout, and they were not allowed to reprint the emails to the people this close to the final election. And that's either censorship or brilliant. I don't know. But even American centrists and more conservative Washington Republicans may take comfort that the old world has not lost all perspective. Many feared the anti-immigration, protectionist, and isolationist tide that recently swept over the U.S. and the British would spread to mainland Europe. But in this era of polarization, for now at least, the political center has held. As a result, from a defense and economic perspective, the U.S. can still rely on its European Union ally. Macron supports staying in the EU, while his defeated opponent, Marine Le Pen, was adamantly against it. With some 500 million consumers, the EU is a market for U.S. goods, and the bloc remains the biggest single U.S. trading partner. Trump congratulated him. The President Trump Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross has prioritized opening trade talks with the EU for now, stanching the risk that France might have followed the UK's path and headed for the Frexit should negate any serious impact on global trade, according to CBS News. Interesting. Macron will likely try to convince Mr. Trump to stay the course on the agreement with climate change, the Paris Agreement, as it is called. That he is ensuring that France will stick to that agreement. Just last year in the French capital, that agreement was made by 195 countries, including the U.S. And apparently he's going to try to urge Mr. Trump to stay on. In Oslo this week, investors with $15 trillion of assets urged governments to stick with the agreement. And even members of Mr. Trump's family are on the case. Finally, the iPhone. Exciting leaks and images about 2017's new iPhones have users so excited that Tim Cook, he claims they have caused iPhone sales to slow in anticipation. But the latest news from financial giants JP Chase will leave users feeling far from happy. In a lengthy report, the multinational giant claims Apple's plans to introduce 3 new models will prove underwhelming. In contrast to the widely published eye-popping iPhone 8, JP Morgan claims the new device will not have tiny 4mm bezels around the display. Instead, the smartphone will be more like Samsung's Galaxy S8 with an edge-to-edge panel horizontally and reduced, but clearly visible top and bottom bezels. It published the following diagrams to illustrate this. Oh. Okay. So I guess it's underwhelming. Whatever. I'm not going to buy a new phone anyway right now. Do you know why? I will tell you why. Because I really don't like spending money that I don't need to spend. I have a perfectly working Samsung phone. Even though it's got a crack in the upper left-hand corner, I can still read it. And now I know not to try and take pictures with the timer, where I set the phone down up on a ledge thinking it's going to sit there, but then all of a sudden the wind blows it off and bam, it hits a rock on the way down. I've learned from that, and I don't need to buy any. I'm done with buying Apple products, as I've mentioned in the past. I don't like how they say, no, don't think, Mike, don't think. This product is for people that don't want to think. So don't think, Mike, stop thinking. But I want to think as I go outside a cafe anyway, where I bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley. Not that I'm elite or anything, or know what elite or elite means, but we'll get Vince on a show in the future. By the way, listen to his show, Vince in the Bay. It's a fantastic podcast, and it tells you all about tech stuff that I can't even begin to explain correctly. Hey, we should get him on and talk about the new iPhone or talk about Apple or something. But this is the end of the show. Thank you for listening. Next show, it'll be Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster. Happy Cinco de Mayo. Oh, wait a minute. Happy... What is today? Ocho de Mayo. Thank you.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Email Mike now at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!